Welcome to another episode of the Poe Underground Podcast. I am your host, DK McKenzie. In today's episode, I have 5 musical poems I'd like to share with you. This first poem is by one of my favorite poets, Amy Lowell from Massachusetts. Before we get into that, I just wanted to share an observation I have about poetry, which is some of my favorite poets are from Massachusetts. They either were born and or lived and worked there, such as, I will go down a short list that I compiled. It's actually much longer than this, but we have Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Frost, Thomas Lux, Sylvia Plath, Emily Dickinson, Robert Lowell, Jack Kerouac, Dr. Seuss. I didn't put that in there. That was 2 sources gave me Dr. Seuss. Walt Whitman, Henry David Thoreau, and the list goes on and on and on, not to mention Amy Lowell, of course. And the name of this poem is The Letter. And I just want to mention this podcast is going to be much different than other podcasts. I've been having a problem with one of my ears, and it's causing me problems with mixing and even just general listening to music. So I had to strip everything down, and basically this entire podcast, today's episode is just voice and one instrument. That's all it is. And it's probably the first podcast where there's no guitar, there's no drums, and everything's just keyboards. Although I wanted to work on guitar, I wasn't able to for one reason or another. So without further ado, let's launch into Amy Lowell's The Letter, and I hope you enjoy it. Little cramped words scrawling all over the paper like draggled flies' legs. What can you tell of the flaring moon through the oak leaves? Or of my uncurtained window and the bare floor spattered with moonlight? Your silly quirks and twists have nothing in them of blossoming hawthorns. And this paper is dull, crisp, smooth, virgin of loveliness beneath my hand. I am tired, beloved, of chafing my heart against the want of you, of squeezing it into little ink drops and posting it. And I scald alone here under the fire of the great moon. All right, and that was The Letter from Amy Lowell. And this next poem is by William Carlos Williams, who is the only physician/poet that I know of, anyway, that was successful. This is called Portent, and without further ado, let's launch into it. Hope you enjoy it. Red cradle of the night, in you the dusky child sleeps fast till his might shall be piled, sinew on sinew. Red cradle of the night, the dusky child sleeping sits upright. Lo, how the winds blow now! He pillows back, the winds are again mild. When he stretches his arms out, red cradle of the night, the alarms shout from bare tree to tree. Wild, in affright, mighty shall he be. Red cradle of the night, the dusky child. And this next poem is by a writer named Robert P. Tristram Coffin. The name of the poem is Day's Diamond. If you had recalled in a previous episode, I had mentioned that there were 2 workers at a college that had concluded that Robert P. Tristram Coffin is or was the inspiration for the character Jay Gatsby, the young version in the novel The Great Gatsby, which is quite an interesting development, years later. So without further ado, let's launch into Days Diamond. Hope you like it. On a day as clear as glass, I saw through the swaying rockweed pass a fish like a diamond rolled on the grass. The rainbow went along with him. Under his fins as they curved to swim, his eyes bulged out as teardrops brim. So much a part of the sea he was, the hammer of my heart must pause. I saw music of his jaws. Then, like a thought on a starlit night that goes when brought into the light, he swam downhill and out of sight. And I stood still and was subtly glad such bright things creation had to elude us thus and leave us sad. So that was Days Diamond, and it's kind of a coincidence as to the order of the work that we have here. Before I explain what I'm talking about, I just wanted to mention that this is one of the first podcasts where I actually had a surplus of poetry to pick from. Usually what happens in these episodes is I end up having a lack of poems or poetry to pick from, and usually it takes about a day or two, sometimes more than that, for me to find the right poem or poems that will make it into this podcast. And a lot of times that happens because I'm doing the music first, and it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes to find a poem that fits the music. And in this case, in today's podcast episode, I recorded all of the poetry first and made the music to the recording. I don't think I've ever done that in this podcast, actually, but out of necessity, that's what happened here, and the results are interesting, to say the least. So, without further ado, this next piece is actually prose, and we're launching back into The Great Gatsby from F. Scott Fitzgerald, which I just mentioned. It was just a matter of coincidence. So I was going through the archives of material that I've collected over the last several months, and these things just popped out at me. It's kind of a no-brainer for today's episode. Like I said, usually it's a struggle finding poems. This time it was just like, hey, all of these poems and prose that I picked and had archived is just, all of it's great. So it's really just a matter of let's just pick one and go with it. And that's kind of what I did. I trusted my judgment and said, all of these poems, I'm going to do them eventually. Let me just do it. So without further ado, let's launch into The Great Gatsby, which I had covered in a previous episode. I think it was either 41 or 42, and those episodes are called From Russia with Love, Part 1 and 2. This is a previous paragraph to the prose that I had already covered. Without further ado, let's launch into it. I hope you enjoy it. By 7 o'clock, the orchestra has arrived. No thin five-piece affair, but a whole pitful of oboes, trombones, and saxophones, and violas, and cornets, and piccolos, and low and high drums. The last swimmers have come in from the beach now and are dressing upstairs. The cars from New York are parked 5 deep in the drive, and already the halls and salons and verandas are gaudy with primary colors and hair bobbed in strange new ways, and shawls beyond the dreams of Castile. The bar is in full swing, and floating rounds of cocktails permeate the garden outside, until the air is alive with chatter and laughter and casual innuendo, and introductions forgotten on the spot. and enthusiastic meetings between women who never knew each other's names. I believe that on the first night I went to Gatsby's house, I was one of the few guests who had actually been invited. People were not invited. They went there. And this last piece is another poem by William Carlos Williams. I had just taken out a book of his poetry, which is why I wanted to cover some of his poems in today's podcast. This is probably one of the only poems in recent memory that I can remember that has lots of exclamation points, which has affected the way that I read the poem, which is not the way I usually read poetry. So I wanted to stay true to the writer's voice, so I read it the way it was written, and hope you enjoy it. This is Peace on Earth. Check it out. The archer is wake, the swan is flying, gold against blue, an arrow is lying. There is hunting in heaven, sleep safe till tomorrow. The bears are abroad, the eagle is screaming, gold against blue, their eyes are gleaming. Sleep, sleep safe till tomorrow. The sisters lie with their arms intertwining, gold against blue, their hair is shining. The serpent rides, Orion is listening, gold against blue, his sword is glistening. Sleep, there is hunting in heaven, sleep safe till tomorrow. And that is it for today's episode of the Poe Underground podcast. I hope you enjoyed these pieces. I hope that whatever my ear problem is will be fixed by next podcast episode, although I'm not sure. I have a doctor's appointment coming up in May, middle of May, so if not, I'm still going to work on music, but I'm not sure if it's going to be to the full capacity as I've done in the past, as I usually do, which is covering everything, drums, guitar, strings, you name it. So anyway, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. This is DK McKenzie signing off. Take care.